My name is Matt Melnick. I am a senior director with Cushman & Wakefield. We are the leasing agents at 300 West Pratt Street. Today we have the privilege of interviewing Hal Sachs, principal with Ammon Heisler Sachs, who is a tenant at 300 West Pratt Street and a big advocate of Baltimore City and the building.
I'm Edward Warfield. I'm the publisher of Citybiz. I'm honored today to interview Hal Sachs, who is a principal at Ammon Heisler Sachs. Welcome, Hal.
Thank you for having me on today.
Your firm was founded in September of 2007. Can you provide a history of the firm and how the partners came together?
So Ammon Heisler Sachs Architects was founded in 2007 by David Ammon, Joe Heisler, and myself. But our firm has a long history in Baltimore. Back in 1974, Donald Cann and John Ammon, the father of David Ammon, formed Cann and Ammon Architects. And then later in 1990, John Ammon went out on his own and created John A. Ammon and Associates. In 2005, David, Joe, and myself were all project managers working for John Ammon, and he was looking for a way to retire, and we were all looking for a way to keep working. So we came up with this idea that we would create a new firm, Ammon Heisler Sachs Architects, and acquire the assets of John A. Ammon and Associates. So in 2007 is when we created the firm, and then in 2008, we acquired the assets of John A. Ammon and Associates, which allowed John to start his retirement process. But in that effort, it also brought 70 years of combined experience to our firm.
So tell us about some of the firm milestones over the years that you're proud of.
Yeah, so I guess we're really proud of the ability for us to grow and stay within Baltimore. And we started out at 345 North Charles Street. And unfortunately, in 2007 and 8 is when we had a recession. And we're just proud that we were able to maintain our status as an architect in Baltimore through that time. And then, shortly thereafter, we outgrew our space and we were looking for a new place to locate our business. And we ended up at 1 North Charles, which is the Blaustein building. And that was built back in 1962 and was considered one of the first skyscrapers of Baltimore City. So we were pretty happy to be there. We were on the mezzanine level, took a portion of that mezzanine, which was all open floor plans, 17-foot ceilings, and full height glass around the exterior. So that was a really impressive space that we were in, and we enjoyed our time there. When our lease came up at the end, we were offered to visit 300 West Pratt by Mark Rembaum. Mark is one of the owners of MLR Partners, and also had been a friend of the firm's over the years. And we had looked at this building before, but the owners at that point weren't willing to put any money into the building or really help us structure a deal to get in. And so we were a little hesitant, even though we love the building. This building was built in the late 1800s as a brush factory, and is one of the last remaining full ironclad facade buildings in Baltimore. And it was about to be demolished back in the 80s. And a developer came in and wanted to redevelop the building. And so they did, and added 2 additions in the 90s. And it has remained that way since then. And several other architectural firms over the years have been in here because it is quite a nice building. But we have a lot to thank for MLR Partners and Mark for introducing and structuring a deal to allow us to be here. But it's been a great home to us. And Robert McClintock caught, in the picture back there, this building right in front of the Bromoseltzer Tower. And it just shows that it's an important building here in Baltimore, and we're thrilled to be here.
So can you provide a snapshot of Ammon Heisler Sachs today in terms of architects, footprint, culture, and other sort of metrics to describe where the firm is today?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Ammon Heisler Sachs Architects is a full-service commercial architectural firm that has grown to be a 15-person firm licensed in 22 states with over $3 million in gross revenue. We have been honored to be noted as one of the top 25 architectural firms in the Baltimore Business Journal's Book of Lists for the past few years. And we feel like we have a great culture here at Ammon Heisler Sachs Architects, and we want to thank our employees for nominating us to be one of the best places to work, and have submitted that to the Baltimore Business Journal's Best Places to Work, and we've been a finalist in that over the past few years as well.
What are some of the significant projects that Ammon Heisler Sachs has designed over the years?
Some of the more significant projects that we've been involved with over the years includes the national headquarters for the National Federation of the Blind, located here in South Baltimore on Wells Street. We also had the opportunity of working with University of Maryland's Center for Environmental Science with their aquaculture and restoration laboratory at Horn Point. It is a 60,000 square foot finfish laboratory in Cambridge, Maryland. And later, we designed the oyster cultivation pier at Horn Point, which is a 300-foot concrete pier located in the Choptank River. It holds a small oyster hatchery lab and 52 oyster cultivation tanks. We've had a long history with M&T Bank that dates back to John A. Ammon and Associates. First National Bank approached John A. Ammon and Associates to help with their retail bank design. And then later, All First acquired First National Bank. And then M&T Bank out of Buffalo, New York acquired All First. And M&T Bank asked Ammon Heisler Sachs Architects to help them implement their prototype design for a retail bank. And it was their first prototype out of the ground bank here in Maryland. And it was a 3,800 square foot retail branch bank for modern day banking. And it's located in Rockville, Maryland. The design is quite eye-catching, and if you get a chance while you're in Rockville to stop by, I think it's worth your time. We also had the honor of working with Mercy Medical Center over the years, and they had asked us to help with the design of the Leah Siegel Ovarian Cancer Institute for Mercy. And it was a really honor to help them design that. And we continue to do work with Mercy now. We also worked on the Hilton Home 2 Suites on Pleasant Street, and we did that with Baywood Hotels. This was the first Home 2 Suites in the Mid-Atlantic, and it was a 13-floor, 60,000 square foot building that was built in 1962. And that building was built with a construction system called Dox Plank, which is only here in the Mid-Atlantic states, and it was the precursor to what we know today as concrete plank. So that was a fun project to work on, and also the only Home 2 Suites that was a conversion and not new out of the ground. And lastly, I'd like to just mention Race Pace Bicycles on Key Highway. It's a 12,000 square foot retail bicycle store, and it's located in Federal Hill on Key Highway in a historic building that was built back in 1930 for King Syrup, and later home to the Daily Record and the Baltimore Museum of Industry's artifact storage. And we have been a long-term client, or Race Pace has been a long-term client of Ammon Heisler Sachs, and we've designed 7 other retail stores for them over the years.
And so what does architecture look like after the quarantine? I mean, how is it changing your practice?
No different than everybody else. We have some people working remote and some people working here every day and other people that are in and out. And we've had already several clients come to us and ask us to help them redesign their offices. And some of them are going to more closed offices like, it used to be in the past. And others are trying to downsize because of the remote people. And, we think it's going to be a kind of mix of everything. We're going to have people that are working remotely all the time. We're going to have some people that are in the office all the time. And then we're going to have those hybrid people. And, the hybrid people are going to be the most difficult to design for, because there could be days when all those hybrid people are in the office and other days when very few of them are in the office. So there's going to be a need for a balance and understanding that you can't downsize to the point where, it's only the people that are there all the time, and 50% of your remote people are hybrid people. So we think that there's going to be a need for some designing and thinking about the average daily usage of each workstation, each desk, each office. And we expect not only that they're going to downsize in office space, but they might have to increase in size for each person, because people are going to want a little bit more separation. The old idea of workbenching may go away. The open office might not be quite as open office as it used to be. So we think there's going to be a lot of changes, and everybody knows that there's going to be a need to allow people to work remotely and maybe hybrid work. So a lot of thoughts to work through over the years to come.
And so what are the growth plans for Ammon Heisler Sachs?
So our growth plans are, one, to continue doing the work that we've been doing with our long-term clients, because we wouldn't be here without them. So there's no plans for us to change any of that other than to have them help us grow our business. And right now we're 15 people. We'd like to be 25 or 30. We don't want to get too big. We like being in Baltimore. So I think our growth plans really is try to add one person per year for the next 10 years and get us into that 25 to 30 person firm, which gives us, maybe a bigger capacity to do some larger projects here in Baltimore and the Mid-Atlantic, but to keep growing the way we have organically with word of mouth. That's how our business started off. That's how it's grown. All of our expansion has really been due to word of mouth. And our long-term dedicated clients.
Hal, I want to thank you for your time and sharing the history of your company and your commitment to Baltimore. Thank you.
Yes, I want to thank you and Matt, too. Thank you very much for the time.